Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the Chineke Orchestra doing Florence Price. Now, the Chineke Orchestra, in case you don't know, is a British ensemble formed specifically to highlight the performing abilities of artists, that is, ensemble players for the most part, of African or African-American, I'm used to saying, but Afro-British, African, whatever, and mixed race ethnicities to counteract the prejudice that classical music is only for us white folk. And that is a really good idea, because it's not only for us white folk. It really isn't. And first of all, I mean, these people are so talented. I mean, just these members of this orchestra, they're an enormously accomplished group. So yes, for their own musical qualities, they should all be able to get together and have the opportunity to make music which we can enjoy. And of course, Florence Price was an African-American artist, an African-American composer, and a black lady. I mean, oh my God, at a time when she had very little chance of getting anything performed. And this particular disc contains two of her major works, the Piano Concerto in one movement, very well played by, Jeneba Kanneh-Mason. It was absolutely excellent. It's not really in one movement. It's really in three movements, but they're all played together, so effectively it's one movement. And it's wonderful. It's a bit Gershwin, a bit Broadway, a bit, Grieg Dvorak, which was her proximate inspiration for classical composers. And it's 17 minutes of delightful music. It's just a joy to listen to it. So's the performance. It's beautiful. Then they do the First Symphony. Now, the First Symphony is her biggest. It's 40 minutes long. It's a big work. It's in E minor, the same key as Dvorak's New World. It was premiered by the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. It was something of a miracle that she got the thing programmed. And it was really the high point of her life as a composer. It's a lovely work. Absolutely beautiful. She had a distinctive voice, a really distinctive voice. Her handling of traditional sonata forms wasn't all that assured, but then again, most romantic composers had the same issues that she did. It's a little diffuse, but I will say this, as the works go on, and she developed, first of all, as a composer. She got better as she went. And second of all, even here, you find her characteristic handling of the four-movement scheme. In other words, a beautiful slow movement inspired by liturgical music, the church hymns of the churches that she attended, and it's gorgeous. It's just an incredibly beautiful piece with bells and stuff, and it's like nothing else in the repertoire. And then her scherzos were often called Juba dance, and they have interesting percussion and catchy tunes, and they're rhythmically interesting. And the finales tend to be quite brief, usually in 6/8 time. And they form with the scherzo a kind of unit. Some people have said, I've read, that her handling of form was amateurish because, her finales are somewhat, they're very simple rondos, at least this one is. And they're not of sufficient weight, to go with the rest of the symphony. But that's not how you should think about them, because when you play the work, it hits you in three big parts. Big first movement, a big slow movement, and scherzo finale together. Even though they're separate movements, they work together because they're similar in tempo and also a little bit in theme and attitude. This finale is in the main key of E minor. The symphony ends in the minor key. It's not happy, jolly, ha 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 at all, and it's really an extraordinary piece. Especially given the time it was performed and the circumstances in which it was written. She wrote 4 symphonies. The second doesn't seem to exist anymore. 3 and 4 do. Her greatest symphony so far, as I can tell, is the third. We're still waiting for a really top-notch performance of the fourth to give us some sort of sense of I think what that work can be. The only recording of it now on Naxos is okay, but it needs more help than that performance gives it to really show it in its best light. And then as a final encore, you get this little piece, part of Ethiopia's Shadow in America. That is a 3-movement triptych. It's only about 10 minutes long or less. I don't understand why they didn't do the whole thing. I really don't. I mean, just doing this one movement, the second movement, his Resignation and Faith, it's called. It's beautiful, but it's only 2.5 minutes. And there's no reason not to do the whole thing, as I said. Now, one of the problems with Florence Price discs so far is that the amount of surviving music is rather small, at least for orchestra. I mean, that she wrote what she did is amazing. I mean, it was only rediscovered by accident, moldering in her summer house, sitting in a cupboard. And it wasn't published in her lifetime. And so discs of her music tend to duplicate repertoire. The first symphony was very, very well recorded by Yannick Nézet-Séguin, Philadelphia, on DG, for example. There's another recording of the third symphony. These pieces now have been recorded a couple times. The piano concerto has been done, I think, 2 other times. But these performances are as fine as any. So the question is simply the coupling. If you like the concerto and the symphony together, go for it. If you want symphonies 1 and 3 together, get the Philadelphia one. But I really enjoyed this disc. It's wonderfully played and very well recorded. And let me tell you who the conductors are. I haven't even mentioned them. Let's see. In the concerto, it's Leslie. Thank you. Thank you for doing this to me, Chineke. Leslie Suganandarajah. Suganandarajah. That's it. Is the conductor of one, and Roderick Cox, thank you God, is the conductor of the symphony. So a lovely disc and well worth hearing if you're enjoying Florence Price's music, and you should be. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.